What's up, MMA fans? We are midway through the year, so you know what that means. We have our 2024 MMA Mid-Year Awards. Let's jump right into it. Now, the first one, I'm not going to lie, absolutely deserving. Unanimous decision. Alex Pereira, Men's Fighter of the Mid-Year. If you can name someone else that might deserve it over him down in the comments, I'm going to call you a liar. 2 title fights, 2 finishes on an absolute tear this year. He'll probably fight 2 more times this year. Next, we have our 2024 Women's Fighters of the Year. We have Zhang Weili and Kayla Harrison. I think they're deserving of this. Zhang Weili, I think, should probably deserve it a little bit more. I don't think it should be a tie. Kayla Harrison had a lot of eyes on her for UFC 300. I think she wins a few awards over some people in this because of that. But like I said, I mean, both are absolute dogs. Kayla went in there and dominated Holly Holm. And Holly Holm is an amazing striker. Next, we have 2024 Most Improved Fighter of the Mid-Year. Now, this went to Diego Lopez, and I think Diego Lopez is an absolute dog. He had that first-round knockout over Sadiq Youssef after Youssef thought he had a walk-off knockout, and then he had an absolute journey for UFC 303. Gets asked to fight on the card a month away, then is fighting Brian Ortega. Okay, gets in camp. Brian Ortega can't make weight. They have to move it to a new weight class for a catch weight. What was it? Went from 145 to like 151, something like that, 155. And then Brian Ortega at the last moment has to pull out. And who steps in? Dan 50K Ige. So another step right there. You go from fighting a high-level grappler to a high-level striker. So, I mean, Diego Lopez just been through the ringer. Honorable mention, though. Steve Erceg. I think Steve Erceg is an absolute dog. I think the only reason he didn't get this, he fights in a little, I don't want to say a watered down flyweight division because the UFC is actually giving the flyweight division a lot of love this year. They're building it up. I think Steve Erceg would do a lot better if he would move up a weight class. His striking is so crisp, his accuracy is there. It just seems like he doesn't have a lot of the power he needs. And I think a weight class change could save that, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see him run it back for the strap again this year. Next, we have our 2024 Newcomer of the Mid-Year. You know how we talked about Kayla Harrison getting some rewards because I think she had a lot of eyes on her. I think her winning Newcomer of the Mid-Year, I think it's decent. I think I could see it. 86% of the votes is kind of crazy. I really like Vinicius Oliveira as a fighter. He personally had my knockout of the year. Had an insane flying knee victory. And then he went out there his last fight, hurt his leg in the second round, and just kept pushing forward in the third to get the dub. I think he could have won this. I personally think 86% is heinous for Kayla Harrison. I think Oliveira should have probably got some more votes. But I'm not trying to take anything away from Kayla Harrison. I love her as a fighter. She's an amazing fighter. Can't wait to see her get back in the cage. Next, we have our 2024 Coach and Trainer of the Mid-Year. And I mean, who do you give it to other than Plinio Cruz and Glover Teixeira coaching Alex Pereira to 2 title defenses, 2 finishes, absolute dogs. I'll say this, and I want to go in depth on this. Everyone hates on Alex Pereira's ground game. He gets taken down too easy. You got to look at his ground game other than the takedowns. He plays a really good defensive ground game. He kept Jiri postured down. Both fights, he survived on the ground. He kept Jiri postured down. I'm talking about both fights between Jiri. We know what happened with Jamal Hill. He is still seeing stars. So, I mean, what I'm trying to get at, Glover Teixeira is not going to give someone a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt without being a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You know what I mean? So I think Alex probably got some sauce on the ground. I wish we could see an Alex Pereira win by submission this year. Will it happen? I don't know. Would I love to see it? Absolutely. Honorable mentions. I mean, you got some dogs on here. I got my little cheat sheet over here. You have honorable mentions Marcos D'Amata and Eric Nixick. Marcos D'Amata coaches the likes of Pantoja, Myra Bueno Silva, Mazvar Elyavov, Armin Saryukin, Edson Barboza, just absolute dogs. And Eric Nixick, another runner-up, coaches Dan Ige, Aljamain Sterling, Sean Strickland. So all these guys, the winners and their honorable mentions, just coaching guys at the highest level of the game, and you just love to see it. I think Marcos might have won coach of the year last year. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that potentially happened. Next, we have our best fight through 2024. Absolutely deserving. Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. Now, Tyler, when I was talking to him about this, he made a good point. Well, Max Holloway was completely outstriking Justin Gaethje, but I think for fight of the year, it's just we went in the fight. We knew it was going to be a war. It went 1-5. You have we knew Max Holloway was going to have the output, but we knew Justin Gaethje could put him out like that, and that's what he was going to have to do. Max Holloway last 10 seconds, you know how that went. The stories wrote Max Holloway with the dub, with the knockout. Now, and Tyler said this before we even knew about this article. He said he thinks Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev should have been fight of the year thus far. And I think that is a amazing take. That fight was absolutely ridiculous. I think it was one of the most high-level fights we've ever seen. You had Dustin come out there absolutely odds stacked against him. He was defending the takedowns. He was defending the submissions and the pressure on the ground. He was out there striking. Islam, by the way, amazing striking. Might be some of the best striking in the UFC. Don't go crazy for me saying that, but might be some of the best striking in the UFC. I begged him to just give Dustin a chance in the pocket, and that man went out there and gave Dustin a few chances in the pocket and outstruck him in those exchanges. So that's all we could ask for. Islam put on an absolute war, and that is what we wanted to see. But like I said, went to Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. And speaking of Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway, we have our best knockout of 2024 thus far. Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje. That knockout was just ridiculous. I'm going to repost my reaction to it today. That's how crazy it was. But my personal favorite, what I went with on my list, this one was unanimous, absolutely deserving, taking nothing away from them. The Vinicius Oliveira flying knee was my personal favorite knockout of the year. I think it deserves some love on here. But Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, absolute dogs. On to our best... Did I skip one? Yes, I did. Our best submission of 2024 thus far is Islam Makhachev defeating Dustin Poirier. I think the whole sequence leading up to that submission was absolutely beautiful. I mean, you have he whips Dustin's leg. 5th round, by the way, so everyone is exhausted. 5th or 4th round, can't remember. Everyone's exhausted. So to have the strength to pull someone's complete body weight off balance, get them on the ground, choke them out, everyone's hot, everyone's sweaty, they're exhausted, and he gets the submission. Picture perfect. Islam deserves it. I think this is an amazing take on this. Honorable mention is Brian Ortega by arm triangle. I think that was solid. My personal favorite, are y'all ready? The Kevin Holland arm bar over Mikel, and I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. I loved that arm bar. That's my personal favorite submission of the year. Let me know your favorite submission of the year in the comments. Next, we have the best MMA event thus far of 2024. Obviously, UFC 300, right? Cards absolutely massively stacked. I don't even have to sit here and talk about why it won it. Runner-ups, though, UFC 299, and one I actually didn't get to watch, PFL versus Bellator. I'm kind of an MMA slut, you know? Or not MMA, UFC. I don't watch a ton of MMA outside of UFC, which is super, super unfortunate. I want to get into it. PFL bought Bellator, right? Something like that. I don't know. Y'all let me know down in the comments. But I'm a UFC princess, so we're here for that. Last but not least, we have the best on mic moment of 2024 thus far. Very deserving, Derek Lewis. If Derek Lewis fights in the year, he's gonna win the post-fight. What do we call it? The post-fight mic moment, best on the mic moment. Went out there, went crazy, won in UFC St. Louis. I appreciate St. Louis for letting me show my naked ass on TV, threw his cup in the crowd. You know, just one of the best entertainers in the business. Honorable mention, Bruce Buffer mixing up Anthony Smith's win at UFC 301. So I think those are some amazing awards. Do I agree with all of them? I I think some of them could have been different. Let me know what you think could have been different down in the comments. Don't forget, like and follow.